Well, this lawfare, there are now debates happening amongst conservatives. Some say Republicans must take the high road. They can't play these dirty games that the Democrats have played. And others say, no, this is the only way to deal with this strategy is to throw it back at them. And there's suggestions, if you want to talk about election interference, what about that letter that was signed by 51 national security experts? Where did that letter originate from? Who had a hand in crafting it? Those 51 security experts who claimed that Hunter Biden's laptop and all the information contained within it about the Biden family was Russian disinformation. That came out right before the 2020 election to discredit that New York Post story. And you could argue very easily that was a clear case of election interference. Did the likes of the Biden campaign, Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, did they have any hand in spreading that message? Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think the Republicans are going to go after Joe Biden, go after Hillary Clinton and other Democrats as they've gone against their ideological opponents?
Well, first things first, we know who orchestrated that. It is Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, and Mike Morell. Mike Morell has confessed under testimony in front of the House of Representatives as acting director of the CIA, which should be a completely non-political position. He orchestrated the signatures of those 51 former CIA directors and intelligence officers to lie about the Hunter Biden laptop, which we now know is true. The photographs, the video, the prostitutes, the guns, the cocaine, it's all real. And they said, oh, this is a Russian disinformation. That's the acting director of the CIA. That is the definition of the deep state. Now, what are the Republicans going to do? Now, first things first, they're not going to go after their political, ideological opponents, because then we sink to the gutter of those who believe that the state is there as a political weapon. What we must go after, not politically, but in the terms of justice, is those who have committed crimes. If you worked in the Trump administration and leaked secret documents to the Washington Post, to the CNN, you committed a felony. If you're Jim Comey, former director of the FBI, if you're James Clapper, John Brennan, director of the DIA and the CIA, you affected the illegal surveillance of a presidential candidate. It's Operation Crossfire Hurricane. You use the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world as a political tool. You must be charged with abuse of power, and you must stand in a dock and answer for your crimes and be judged by a jury of your peers. So, unless we restore faith in our institutions, I mean, the biggest, President Trump is doing great. He's raised $200 million in the last 72 hours. I mean, never before seen since the verdict. But God willing, if we have a free and fair election, he will be reelected and he will be the president, whether he's convicted or not. But the bigger problem is this, Rita. On Thursday, tens of millions of Americans lost complete and utter faith in the judicial system and the organs of the state that have the power to imprison. That takes much longer than one election to fix. Tens of millions of Americans say, hang on a second, the FBI, the DOJ, the state of New York, if they don't like my face, if they don't like my politics, they can put me in prison for years. That's the real damage done to the republic, and that has been done by the Democrats.
Now, the effect of this trial on the polls, it appears to be mixed. There's a new ABC poll suggesting perceptions of Donald Trump and Joe Biden are statistically unchanged from before the verdict was announced. A Reuters poll says that 1 in 10 Republicans are less likely to vote for Trump post-verdict than they were before. There's been a number of other polls, I talked about them over the weekend, that showed Trump's support actually improved after the conviction. What do you think the impact of this case, this conviction, is going to be in November on Trump's chances of being elected president?
Well, it's very simple. Just look at what happened. $70 million in 48 hours from small donors. Then we have another 130 million from big institutional donors. That's $200 million in 72 hours. Forget polls. Look at and go. If you go to my Twitter feed, because I'm on social media a lot, and when you see Democrats who bring the receipts and by name they say, "I'm a Democrat. I voted Democrat all my life. I'm voting for President Trump, and I just donated to his campaign." And there's a screenshot. John Smith donated $100. I've never seen that before. I've never seen Democrats openly on a social media platform where they face cancellation and they self-dox themselves, saying, "I've had it." This is beyond party politics. But we know what if any other person had been accused of misstating a business entry for their accounting 7 years ago, they wouldn't be in the dock. They wouldn't be convicted of 34 made-up felonies. The only reason is it's President Trump. The only reason is he is the threat of all threats to the uniparty, to the Democrats and the fake conservative Republican in name only rhinos. That's why he must be stopped. This is the only man who isn't owned by any special interest group. Not the unions, not Big Pharma, not Big Oil, not the military industrial complex. Nobody owns my former boss. And as such, he must be stopped. And this is how they think they can stop him. But the wry thing about all this is, what do Americans love more than anything else? From Clint Eastwood to Dirty Harry, all of those things. We love outlaws. We love cowboys. Why is hashtag outlaw president trending? Because they've made him an outlaw, and Americans love outlaws.
Well, it's incredible because even the term convicted felon, which they were using, and I saw one of the Soros son saying we've got to get this tag attached to Trump anytime he's mentioned, say convicted felon. They've completely changed the meaning of that because that was trending on Twitter, but it was trending because Republicans were pledging to vote for a convicted felon, not because Democrats were using that term. So in that way, it has backfired, certainly with the donations that have been raised. And I look forward to speaking to you again before the November poll. Dr. Gorka, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Check out my Substack and follow me on Twitter. God bless you.